Welcome to the Baseball Together podcast. This week we're going to talk about what we want from Baseball Santa right now.
Welcome to the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together.
Welcome, baseball family, to this week's episode of the Baseball Together podcast. My name is Brad, and I'm here with our guy, Mr. Brig, in his Santa hat. How are you, Brig?
Feeling good, like I should, in the Santa hat.
You should. I like that Santa hat because it
Thank you.
reminds me very much of my Santa from Christmas Chronicles. Kurt Russell's Santa, right?
It's the best one. It's my Santa too.
Love it.
Sorry, Tim Allen.
Fantastic.
Move over. He's been...
I know, and it hurts because I love watching the Santa Claus every single year. But nonetheless, here we are with the Christmas Chronicles taking the torch. So
if you can give me a Santa Claus that sings the blues better than Kurt Russell's performance, I'm like, okay, then we'll have a contention. But until then, it is decided. I'm a blues man. I do not. Anyway, I spent years searching and combing and curating my list of blues Christmas music.
Specifically?
So if you listen to Christmas playlist that I've made, it will include blues music that happens to also be Christmas.
That's funny because my Christmas list is my Christmas playlist is just the Charlie Brown Christmas album. That's
really?
It.
That's it?
The whole thing. Yeah, give me the jazz. I love it.
Yep. That's awesome.
I'm here for it. Yeah, that's
and Weezer does a Christmas, so of course that's on my list.
Of course, yeah.
And if you like jazz Christmas, boy, do I have some suggestions for you. Get ready, Brad, because 2024 is the year you expand your Christmas playlist.
We'll see about that. We'll see. Anyway, all right, so we're going to get into this is a previously recorded episode. In case you didn't notice, because there's no news items, because we didn't want those to be out of date by the time you watch this, the week of Christmas, but we are going to talk to Baseball Santa. If you're new here, he's real, by the way.
Yep.
So we're going to share the items that we are going to ask Baseball Santa for next season. So, Brig, why don't you get us started? Lead us off with your first item for Baseball Santa.
I'm going to lead us off, but I'm also going to let everybody know that we don't share lists. We don't have any idea what the other person's asked for. Brad and I both seem to develop our lists throughout the season. I think Brad had a harder time culling his list this time than I did.
I did.
Sounds
mostly I had a lot of Homer items that I had to pull out because there's a lot of things I want for the Mariners this year. But anyway.
See, so I didn't put any Yankee stuff on mine at all. Nothing Yankees specific.
See, I could have thought of several things.
Yeah.
But
well, me too.
Anyway.
But I'm going for the good of the game. This is my altruism showing. Okay.
Oh, very good. Yes.
All right. First thing. Starting in 2025, I want the league to officially expand to 2 additional teams. I want them to make the announcement at the end of the 2025 season. I want, and then the timeline within which it will take place. But I want the announcement made by the end of the 2025 season that 2 new teams will be coming to Major League Baseball. I want one of them in Charlotte. I want the other one in Nashville. The one in Charlotte right now is the AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox. They're the Charlotte Knights. I want you to keep that affiliation, and I want you to move them to Montreal. Let's get baseball back in Montreal. Let's test the market with a AAA club. But we already know it's going to work, and that's what we can give them right now. We can't give them a Major League Baseball club. I don't think the league is ready for that, even though the fans are. So AAA Charlotte, the Knights move to Montreal. Call them whatever you want. They stay the affiliates of the Chicago White Sox. Then you give me the AAA Nashville Sounds. They maintain their affiliation with Milwaukee Brewers as their AAA club. But you move them to either Charleston, West Virginia, or Morgantown, West Virginia. It's almost exactly the same distance, very close to the same distance to that part of West Virginia as it is to Nashville, away from Milwaukee. frees up all that other space. With you move those two teams out, frees up all that other space to put other minor league affiliations around and fill in the gaps, because you're going to need to anyway. Pittsburgh, both Charleston, West Virginia, but especially Morgantown, is really, really close to Pittsburgh. So you know you're going to be pulling some of the fans there. And because it's minor league baseball, people will come out and see it. That's the first thing I want to have happen.
That's much more specific than it was the last few years.
Yes.
Because expansion is the thing that you ask for every year. Just, it reminds me, Brig, of like when I was in high school, I asked for a snowboard every year for Christmas.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I finally got one. But maybe you'll finally get it this year.
Maybe so. I figure
Because
if I fine-tune my ask a little more.
possibly, because this is the thing, is that I do feel like we're closer and more realistic to having an answer, because we're on the doorstep of having a final answer regarding the A's, right? They're in Sacramento, headed to Vegas. We still don't have an answer entirely on a stadium. We're getting there, but it's not there 100%, right? Right.
Yep.
We have concepts and ideas. Is that how it goes?
Mm-hmm.
And then the Rays, they have a solution for next year for their stadium. They're like where they're going to play. Then they're figuring out what they're going to do for the Trop, but they have everything approved for their new stadium.
They do.
So those are like the two big things, of the Rays and the A's, before we can expand. And so maybe it's like, okay, like we're getting those checked off. Some things have kind of happened along the way that we need to finish figuring out. But maybe we can find out about expansion by the time the calendar's getting ready to flip to 2026.
That's what I want. Just tell me that it's going to happen. Make the announcement. Tell me where. Make the announcement. Because then you're going to need so much time. You're going to need time to build ballparks or expand the ballparks you already have.
3 years.
You're going to need time to build minor league facilities in new places. You're going to need time. There's a lot that will have to take place. So give me the announcement. Give me the locations. Give me the timeline. That's what I want.
That's right. Yeah. That's awesome. I love it. I hope we get that too. It'd be a great one.
Thank you. Okay, what's yours?
Okay, in 2025, I'm hoping for an extension on the collective bargaining agreement. Because this is the thing. I know we have 2 full seasons of baseball before this thing expires. Because it does not expire until 11:59 on 12/1/26. Okay, December 1st, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. is when the current collective bargaining agreement expires. But I want either an extension or a new deal in place by the end of this year, so we don't have to worry about it next year. So there's not that impending doom coming all year long with 2026. Because as things stand right now, we will not start baseball on time in 2027.
Totally.
It's not going to happen. So if we can get some kind of extension, 6 months to a year, then maybe we can get it figured out. By we, I mean they, right? The fans can enjoy baseball on time to start the season. But as of right now, it doesn't look like that's something that's going to happen. It doesn't seem realistic, unfortunately. That's why I want an extension on the current CBA, so that we can count on baseball to start on time in 2027. That's what I want.
I love that. That is a realistic expectation.
I appreciate that.
And I think that realistic is not always what we put into our lists. So that's fantastic.
Right. Well, I mean, there's a reason I want to start asking for it now, is so they have time to kind of start figuring things out, right? Because if they start talking now, then maybe by the end of the year, they can be somewhere where they can kind of meet in the middle. And like I said, an extension would be fantastic. 6 months would be fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
To give themselves a little bit of wiggle room in the off season there.
And there are some big, big issues. And it's going to be a very interesting discussion. Like I keep thinking, or I keep hearing about them wanting to take arbitration from 6 years to 5. And I'm like, whoa.
Right. Players want a lot with arbitration. Owners want a lot with arbitration. There's stuff about a salary floor, salary cap.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of stuff, right? I mean, there are a lot of issues that need to be sorted out. I don't feel like it's with other sports, because the way that baseball works with player control with the minor league system is so different than anybody else that it's like they have 50 pages of issues where other leagues feel like they're only about 10 to 15 pages of issues on contracts and player control and things like that. So
yeah, that's a good one, man.
A lot to work out. Thanks,
I like
man.
that. All right, my next one. Starting in 2025, I want Major League Baseball teams to embrace some of their retro looks. I especially want to see the 90s come back. We are 90s kids. We are aging fully into the principal demographic of baseball fan. We are going to be occupying the largest category of fan. So give us retro. We are already obsessed with retro and vintage and our 90s culture. That's just a thing we'll never fully get away from. So give it to us. Make some money while you're doing it. Have a good time. Play around with it. So here's what I want to see. I want to start with the winged A for the Angels. Bring me back the winged A. And I want you to start calling them Anaheim again. None of this LA Angels of Anaheim or whatever the heck we're calling them now. Get away from it. And in keeping with that, I also want you to bring back vests occasionally.
Yes.
I don't want it full time. I don't want it full time, but I want a vest. Maybe Fridays, maybe Sundays. I don't know. I want the White Sox and the Rockies bring back their vests like that. I need teal and black in Miami. I need teal and black in Miami. I need teal and purple in Phoenix with a little bit of gold on the edge. And I need to see full-time racing stripes on Mets home whites. All the way down the sleeves, all the way down the pants. And if you want to bring back the black alternate, I'm not going to be sad. But I know that's a hot topic. So that's what I want.
Mets fan on because I love a black alternate.
I do too. But that's what I want. I want Major League Baseball to let the players have a little fun with it, but bring the 90s back and keep it around as alternates or whatever you want to do. I don't know.
Yeah. That's really funny that's one that you bring up because you and I, our teams have had no changes since the 90s.
Nope, none.
The Mariners have changed. They've had vests. They had black for a short time. They have gone back and forth with the teal. They've gone from teal really to what they're calling Northwest green now. But overall, like that's
pretty much
just
the same.
Like pretty much the same. Yeah, it's tiny.
Once the 80s turned into the 90s and they moved away from the royal and gold and yellow, it's been the same.
Yeah, it has been. The logo's been the same. All that has been the same. Your team has all been the same. So I think it was kind of funny to me that you wanted the 90s, and I was sitting there thinking, like, both of our teams look the same since the 90s.
But there's so much panache out there that's not.
There is a lot.
Visible.
There's a lot of really cool stuff that teams can do with their stuff from the 90s, especially the late 90s, that would look awesome. And I think you're spot on with that. I love it. I like it a lot.
Thank you.
I like that a lot.
Well, and we are going to be the principal demographic. Like, if we're not already, we will very soon be the largest group is us 90s kids. We just will be. So pander to us a little bit. Let us have some fun with it. That's what if you're going to pander, do it the right way.
For sure. Do it with 90s stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. My next one. In 2025, I'm hoping for a year of consistency from Julio Rodriguez. Okay, now Brig. The thing about Julio Rodriguez is watching him all season long in 2024 was like, oh my gosh, Julio has not been very good this year. He's had a down year, and he did have a down year by his standards, because Brig, this last year he put up a 4.3 WAR was all. Say what?
That's bad news, Bears.
That's because he put up 6.2 his rookie season and 5.3 his sophomore season. So, down. He hit 20 home runs, and most of those came after August 1st. Really? He only stole 24 bases. He hit 273, but his OPS was 116, which still not bad, but he was 147 as a rookie, 130 for his second season. So, Not a good year for Julio Rodriguez. Was he the best player on the team? Second best player, actually. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
But nonetheless, like a year of Julio Rodriguez struggling, you would take that out of most guys.
100%.
But Julio Rodriguez is not most guys. He is a superstar waiting to blossom into one of the faces of the league, the leader and the face of the Seattle Mariners franchise. And Mariners fans are waiting for it because we see flashes of it all the time. He'll go on a 7-game tear where you cannot get him out at all. At all. He'll go 15 for 15 in a row. Right? And you're like, this is Julio. If he goes 10 for 15, I'll take it. But he's going 15 for 15 with 4 homers during this stretch. And it's like, this is the potential to even get a little bit of this for the course of a season. He has MVP potential. And this is what I want to see. I want to see a year of consistency. And when it gets down to it, Brig, I want to see an MVP season out of Julio Rodriguez. That's what I want. Because a year of consistency from Julio will be an MVP.
Yeah, it will be. You're right. You're right. If we get the Julio we've been promised.
The Julio that we see. We see it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I guess that's more fair. Absolutely.
So that's all I want. I want the Julio that we know we can get.
I like that.
All right, go ahead with your next one.
I got a lot of thoughts on that. Okay. Starting in you ready? Starting in 2025, I need official penalties in place to disincentivize teams from tanking. Now, I've asked teams not to tank in the past. I didn't get my wish. Now, I want to throw the book at them. So I think there should be a roster spend minimum in order to qualify for luxury tax incentives. So you are going to be part of the group that receives any profit sharing at all from the luxury tax of the larger market teams. Then you cannot get that money unless you meet a minimum roster spend. That's what I want. I also think there should be draft penalties for teams who consistently underspend. And I want the following teams.
They do have draft penalties for teams that are constantly in like the bottom 5 of worst record, right? Like you cannot be in the lottery if you're in that for more than like 3 years in a row. Something like that.
But that does not necessarily equate to spend. And I want it tied to a dollar amount as well as on-field performance. I want both, Brad. Because I want to hit them hard. I don't want to see this tanking business anymore. And I know baseball has a tremendous parity. I got it. And they're awesome at that. It's fabulous. But I want the following teams to have 5 years under this new penalty system. That gives them time to increase roster spend and put a more competitive team on the field. Otherwise, the owners need to leave. And those teams are the Angels, the A's, the Rockies, the Pirates, the White Sox, the Marlins, and the Reds. I think that somehow there should be, and this is wild, and this is just the footnote on my wish list that I can't actually ask for. But if there's a way to force those people out of their positions of authority after that 5 years, that'd be great. But there's not. So
there's not. The closest thing you can do is relegation, like taking the European soccer model, but there's way too much money. But this is the thing though, like anybody who's watched Ted Lasso knows, like what I mean by this is anybody who's watched Ted Lasso who doesn't know, like regularly pay attention to European soccer, understands that taking the financial hit is part of relegation. That's one of the things they say in the beginning of season 2. Spoilers, is that they say with relegation, you're not playing a Premier League schedule, which means you're not getting Premier League sponsorships.
Yeah.
right? And it would be the same thing. If you're not playing a major league schedule, you're not getting major league sponsorships. And owners would never agree to that. They would never agree to that.
No.
But
No.
it would certainly incentivize them to put a winning product on the field.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
pay a little bit more money to make a little bit more money. And then
Yeah.
how much more upset are the owners getting if their team loses
Oh, man.
compared to now when it's just like, well, we did pretty well at the gate this year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I can't stand
It would
it.
certainly have a different reaction with relegation than what they're getting now.
I can't do it.
And this is the thing, too. This is my last thing on this one, Brig, because I love this. You have to think about this. 3 of the final 4 teams in the playoffs this year were the top 3 teams in payroll this year.
Yeah.
That you get like over the last decade or so, it's been like, well, not necessarily. There are a lot of homegrown players with a star or 2 peppered in there. Well, not this time around. It wasn't.
I know.
That's
what I have to say.
It's a good one. It's a good one. I like it.
Thank you.
I'm going to piggyback on that last part just a little bit.
Ooh, I like.
Transition.
Mm-hmm.
In 2025, I'm hoping for the Padres to dominate the National League West. Because this would be so good for baseball. The Dodgers have taken it upon themselves the mantle of being the evil empire now. The Dodgers are spending all the money to get all the stars. For a few years, it was, oh, your team beat us in the playoffs. We're going to come get your star.
Yeah.
It was the Red Sox. Then they got Mookie Betts. It was the Braves, and they got Freddie Freeman, right? And then this last year, it was our crosstown rival is losing their superstar to free agency. We're going to take him. We will spare no expense, and we will be the ones who get him.
Yeah.
And, obviously they beat everybody this year, and that's the way it goes. That's fine.
Yeah, of course.
But they're front runners for Roki Sasaki, because why not? Why the heck not?
Yep.
So
it's a problem.
What I want the Padres to be the ones who win the National League West, to kind of just put a little bit of a dig on the Dodgers. Because I love that Shohei Ohtani got his ring. I love that Freddie Freeman was a hero and everything. I like Mookie Betts. I like his personality. I love him as a player. But I do not like repeat champions, and I want the Padres to be the ones who take the Dodgers down a notch. If it's just for this 1 year, I'm fine. I'm fine. The Dodgers can win in 2026, and I won't care. Legitimately will not care as long as they don't beat the Mariners, right?
Right.
Like, that's all I care about. But I do not want them to be a repeat champion, because that is one of my favorite things about baseball, and I want the Padres to be the ones who take down the Dodgers this year and own the division, own their playoff run, and take out the Dodgers in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. It's freaking sweet.
That's what I want. Because they should have taken them out this year.
I don't hate that. I will say that there are a lot of Dodger fans who you've just completely angered, which is fine. That's the point.
I understand that, and it's like, really honestly, Brig, I would have said that had the Yankees won this year, had the Padres won this year, had the Mets won this year.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I would have said, take them out. Division rival, take them out, because that's what I would want. I don't want a repeat champion, because I get so sick of champions so fast. But really, though, Brig, what it comes down to is that as a baseball fan, I am terrified of that roster.
Oh, yeah.
As a fan of anybody besides the Dodgers, that roster terrifies me, and I could see them winning the next 5.
Yeah. Yeah,
very
exactly
easily.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Like, that's what it comes down
to.
Me too.
I know.
I don't want them to, but I could see it happening, because they weren't even healthy. So what do you do?
Scream, panic, weep.
All of the above.
That's what I'm doing. That's my plan.
I think I'll join you.
You just cry.
Yeah, that's all anybody who's not a Dodger fan can do.
I know.
It's almost like, help us, San Diego. You're our only hope. That's what it feels like.
That was really great. Brad with the Star Wars reference every
Always.
time.
Always.
Every time. Love it. I love that for you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Brig.
All right, my next one, starting in 2025. I only have 2 left. Do you have 2 left?
I have 2 left.
Okay, good. All right. I got to double check. Starting in 2025, I want Major League Baseball to partner with Disney, and I want them to bring a Nickelodeon NFL-style broadcast to at least 1 game per week, televise it nationally so that anyone can watch. I want Anna and Elsa doing gameplay. I want Mickey and Minnie doing color commentary on the field. And I want Star Wars graphics when a ball goes out of the ballpark. I want it to go into warp speed. This is not complicated, Brad. This should be happening.
It should be happening, but once a week?
Minimum.
That's a lot.
I don't care. We need to get, there's so many games. There are so many games. You can't tell me that you can't take 1 game every Sunday and let the whole family watch Elsa and Anna do color commentary or play-by-play or whatever. Come on. Get the kids involved.
That'd be pretty awesome. I think, honestly, if you did it once a month, it would still be a huge hit.
You're right. And once a month is more
So,
realistic.
speaking of which, did you see the NFL one is The Simpsons this year?
Well, I heard Dora was on the other day, too, I guess. So,
oh, wow.
I don't know.
Oh, that's right, because that's the different one. That's the Slime Time one, and then Disney does their animated one. Because that's what I was thinking, was the animated one. Remember the last year they did the one from Andy's room? That was
Andy's
cool.
Room. Yeah.
That was really cool.
Exactly. That's the one I'm talking about.
But the Slime Time one, I could see that being once a week because that's a little less production value.
Yep.
There's not quite as much going into it. That I think once a week makes sense.
I'm telling you, you got to do something to make baseball fun for very small people. Very, very small, impressionable, young people.
Mm-hmm.
And it can't just be the moms and the dads and the aunts and the uncles out there trying to do it for you. Help us, help you. Help me, help you. Help me, help you.
Yes, indeed. I like it.
Super.
That would be a lot of fun. That would be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we need it. We need it.
Thank you. I think so.
Very good. Okay.
All right.
My next one. In 2025, I'm hoping for a reduction in the number of Tommy John surgeries across the league.
Boom.
Because this is the thing. Tommy John happens. UCLs are going to blow out. It's going to happen. That's part of baseball. It's part of the game we live in now. But it is bad for baseball when you do not have your stars on the field. So, I don't know if this is going to take baseball being like, as a whole, we're going to take a little bit of a strategy change because we want to keep our guys healthy. Don't go out there and throw as hard as you can for every pitch. Go out there and be a tactician. Be a Greg Maddux just a little bit. Right? Even though hitters are better now than they've ever been before. Because pitchers are better now than they've ever been before.
It's true.
Right? So it's like, literally, Brig, this is my one wish from Baseball Santa that's just like, sprinkle a little bit of your fairy dust on it and make it happen. Because I don't know how to make it happen. I don't know how we can go about this. But I just I don't want to have a terrible start to the season like we had last year where you had 3 guys dropping every other day.
Yeah.
And not just guys, superstars dropping every other day.
Yeah. That's part of that's a huge problem. Because it is superstars.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't like it.
I like it. I think you're right. I think it needs to happen. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know what they're going to do to pull it off.
I don't know how to fix it. Like I said, that's a little bit of Christmas magic.
That would have to be Christmas magic. Yeah, you're right. Let's get it though. Get that. If all you got to do is believe. All right, my last one. Ready?
Okay.
This one's near and dear. All right, so pay attention. That's what I tell my kids. Pay attention. Starting in 2025, I want to see, you can announce them, you can start the production calendar, you can release a trailer if you want. I don't care. However far along the process you are, I want 2 new baseball movies. Okay? The first one I want is for the kids. I want it nostalgic for the parents, which all kids' movies are doing these days. If you go watch the Inside Out movies, there's tons of stuff layered in there for the parents, and there's tons of great stuff in there for the kids. Make it a sophisticated storyline that benefits everybody watching, but I want it to be funny. I want it to be kinetic and dynamic. I want it to have a pretty tight weave, but I don't want superhero stuff, and I don't want magic or any supernatural capabilities. I want the characters to be the magic. I want you to let the people be the joy of it. I'm thinking Sandlot does that, right? Where the magic is in the characters. It's not necessarily even in the plot. It's how the characters move through the plot and try to solve the problems. It's magical. Like, give me something like that. That's the first baseball movie I want. The second one I want is like an adult, I guess, baseball movie that's just for adults. It has to somehow
like Major
involve
League or Bull Durham.
Yeah, it has to somehow involve Kevin Costner. Okay, somehow. Now, I would love to see an ensemble cast. So characters or actors and actresses we've seen from previous baseball films, bring them back. Couple them with some up-and-comers. I want to see, like Major League, where there were so many people, and everyone's like, I know that. And, it was this laundry list of great personalities, great capabilities. They brought a wonderful dynamic together. So get a great casting director and hire whoever you have to hire. Give me some up-and-comers, no names or whatever, with some legendary people. Now, we've seen in previous baseball movies that they've been a little bit lower on the budget scale. I want this one to be big budget. I want all the stops. Pull them out, every one of them. I want it to be fun, but I want it to be emotional. I want lots of culture and lifestyle representations. Okay? I don't want it to be a movie about old white people watching a movie about old white people, whatever. Like, I don't want that. I want it to be a modernized view of the world through the lens of baseball, allowing baseball to be the vehicle to communicate whatever the storyline is about the people. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I want it so bad. If you take the same energy that you got from The Natural, that you got from Field of Dreams, that you got from Major League, where it's about the characters and their struggle, but how they do it together, what the goal is. Do that. Do it again. Do it again. Give it to me. I want it.
So
I need one.
Immediately, the one storyline that comes to mind, Brig, when you say that, is I would love to see a Bull Durham 2 where Crash Davis is a GM or a manager, either one, because I think he would fit. It would make sense to have him in either. And he has a really raw pitcher, Nuke LaLoosh type.
Yeah.
But not Nuke LaLoosh.
Of course.
And then he brings in Nuke LaLoosh to be the mentor of this kid. Instead of Crash Davis or the catcher being the mentor, he brings in Nuke LaLoosh. Like, he's exactly like you.
Right.
He is a carbon copy of you. Yeah. And then instead of him, and it starts off, instead of him teaching him how to, like, hone it in, shenanigans.
Of course.
And then they figure it out. And Nuke's like, okay, finally, like, okay, we got to get you, like, where you need to be, or you're never going to make it to the show. Did all that stuff, right?
That would be great. Now, listen, baseball family, if any of you out there have seen or read something like this, we don't know about it. Okay, I promise. This is not... I don't know of a storyline like Brad just described, but there were no characters harmed in the making of this speech. Purely coincidental. But I think that's great. The only reason I say that is because it's probably out there somewhere, right?
It might be. I don't know. Yeah.
The more time I spend in this creative writing world, the more I realize, like, somebody somewhere has thought of it. Somebody somewhere has that working draft in their drawer or on their hard drive, and they just haven't finished it, or it's out with an editor, or they're shopping an agent or something. Like, that storyline exists, Brad. It is out there. And
I'm
somebody
sure it
needs to just
does.
push play.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, so cool. That's what I
Okay.
want. I need a couple of new baseball movies. The end.
I would love that. I think I was actually thinking about the other day that we got The Hill a couple years ago. What was it, like a year and a
Oh,
half ago now?
fantastic.
And since before that, there wasn't really much. There hasn't been anything
No.
since. So it's
Exactly
time.
right.
It
It's
is time.
time. It's time. Yep. And if you haven't seen The Hill, go watch The Hill. Like, go watch it. It is great. Dennis Quaid, fabulous. And if you want to
Mhm.
know who the story is based off of, we've got the interview. If you want to hear from the director of the film, he was there too. Absolutely great. They invited us to the film premiere, and we loved it. Honored.
It was awesome. A good
Yep.
old time. Okay, I've got one more.
Okay.
In 2025, I'm hoping for the Mariners to sign Cal Raleigh to a long-term extension. Now, this is something I have wanted for a long time, but Brig, it's one of those things where you're like, oh, exactly what I want. It exists now.
Yeah.
Because the problem was Cal Raleigh's agent was Scott Boras, who does not do long-term extensions traditionally, right? Does not happen. Matt Chapman, he got himself an extension, but I think it was because he already hit free agency, so he was willing to do the
Yep.
long-term extension. But Cal Raleigh fired Scott Boras in November, and he moved over to Excel Sports Management as his new agency. And I think he did this because he wants to stay in Seattle. That's my personal opinion. That's what I think. But the Mariners need to make this happen, because this is the thing, and this is the thing that I've been talking about with my little Mariners circle, is that the Mariners need to figure out what they're going to do with Cal Raleigh so they can figure out what they're going to do with Harry Ford, because Harry Ford is a beast.
True.
Nobody runs on Harry Ford. Harry Ford rakes. Okay? He is, and he's a smaller version of Cal Raleigh who does not switch hit. It's really what it comes down to. Harry Ford tore up the World Baseball Classic in 2020. What was it, 2023? Yeah. In 2023,
so.
he played for Great Britain and had a great tournament. And he's
Mhm.
gotten to be even better. I've watched him play in person. He is a big leaguer who was blocked at the big league level by Cal Raleigh. So, with the Cal Raleigh extension, you can do Harry Ford a favor and you can send him somewhere else.
Good call.
As much as I would hate for that to happen,
Yeah.
because he's going to end up beating the Mariners at the plate, or he's a freak athlete, so you move him to the outfield. I don't know. But either way, Cal Raleigh needs to stay around for a long time. Platinum Glover. Should have been a Silver Slugger, in my opinion. Like, really, very well could have been a Silver Slugger. We talked about that a few weeks ago. We'll leave it. And he's getting better and better every single year. Toughness, unquestionable. Played with a torn tendon in his thumb for like 3 months in 2023. He was the guy who ended the drought in 2022. That alone deserves a pay raise, right?
Yeah.
So he is not a
big deal.
free agent until 2028. So you have a couple years to get it done. But I think now is the time to get it done. I think Cal wants to get it done. I think that's why he got rid of Boras. His value right now is sky high. He was the offensive leader on that team. He is the emotional leader on that team. He has a baseball IQ through the roof and leading the best pitching staff in baseball. If you watch some of Trevor May's videos with some of the stuff that some of the guys like Bryce Miller, Brian Wu, and George Kirby do, he goes, oh, that's him doing that. That might have been something Cal called. Because he's that smart. He's that good defensively. The Mariners need to lock him up long term, because the big dumper he leads by example. I don't know that he's always necessarily the vocal leader in the clubhouse, but he's also not afraid to ruffle the feathers of ownership, which he did at the end of the season in 2023.
He really did.
By saying, you need to bring in some more guys. We need some more dudes on this roster. And I love it. I absolutely love it. He's not afraid to do it. And that goes a long way with earning respect in the clubhouse. His toughness earns respect in the clubhouse. And his play on the field absolutely earns respect in the clubhouse, because he is a steady hand. No pun intended.
I love what you did there.
Thank you.
That's a good one. It's a really
Thanks.
good one.
It's another Homer one, in case you didn't notice.
Nuh-uh. In case you weren't paying attention, Brad's a Mariners fan.
That's right. Yes, I am.
Come out from
I
behind
am.
your rock or underneath your rock, I guess. Unless you're new, and then welcome to the show.
Yeah, unless you're new, welcome to the show. I am a Mariners fan. Absolutely. Love it. Well, baseball family, thank you for joining us. If there's anything that you're asking Baseball Santa for, let us know. Drop it down in the comments or shoot us an email, baseballtogetherpod@gmail.com. We will see it, we will read it, and we will share it on the show because I think that is really fun. I want to know what people are asking Baseball Santa for this year and next year and any time of the year, actually. If there's something you want to see for your team or with Major League Baseball, I want to hear it because it's fun and it's exciting and it makes for good conversation.
It does. Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review anywhere you can. It helps the show more ways than you know. For real, for real. We're on Twitter, Instagram. Sometimes we remember Threads is there. Sometimes we remember Twitter changed its name and still exists. We're on Facebook and the Tiki Taki Machine. So those are the best places. But also, if you want to support the show, there are many ways to do it. You can support one of our affiliate partners, and all those links are in the description down below. Or you can go to Patreon. We have 5 tiers of support. That would be a great Christmas gift to us if you are so inclined. There are $1 a month all the way up to a whopping $500 a month. And Brad signed me up for some stuff that's pretty funny. So just go look at it, if nothing else, and giggle, and then come back and tell us how crazy we are. But baseball family, with that, and letting Brad know that I know something he doesn't know, we will catch you next week.